Hello. When people talk about geopolitics, they often imagine closed rooms, formal speeches, and distant decisions that feel far removed from everyday life. But real diplomacy doesn't just happen in capitals, it happens in the spaces between countries, cultures, and interests. My guest today at the Living Room podcast by Index Media works exactly in that space. Honorable Giulio Centemero is an Italian member of parliament and the president of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Mediterranean, representing 30 countries across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, one of the most complex and interconnected regions in the world. He is joining us here in the UAE while attending a high-level forum in Abu Dhabi focused on women's leadership and representation in parliament, a topic that is increasingly shaping political dialogue across the region and beyond. What makes Giulio's perspective particularly interesting is that he doesn't see diplomacy as static. He speaks just as fluently about innovation, startups, and technology as he does about history, dialogue, and regional stability. Honorable Giulio, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome on the Living Room podcast by Index Media.
Thanks for having me.
It's lovely to have you today. I'll start directly with our questions. The first question for today is that people see official photos and formal meetings, but from your experience, what's the part of diplomacy that most people completely misunderstand? What actually happens behind the scenes?
Well, first of all, we have to make a difference between diplomacy and parliamentary diplomacy. I work in parliamentary diplomacy as a parliamentarian. And parliamentary diplomacy is that thing that keeps the dialogue alive always, even when two countries have no diplomatic ties. Okay, so parliamentary diplomacy happens most of the time behind the scenes, where maybe during an assembly there are, debates,
big
arguments,
decisions
maybe big decisions. Where maybe you feel a taste of closure, but outside the room, maybe in front of a coffee, in front of a meal, finally you reach some agreement, some decision. You keep the dialogue alive during the worst crisis ever.
You're here in Abu Dhabi for a forum focused on women in parliament and political leadership. From your experience, when women are genuinely present at the table, does the nature of dialogue and decision-making change?
Of course, it does, because, well, from my perspective, not as a parliamentarian, but as someone who works in finance, women are always calming the scenario, like they're less prone to risk compared to men, so they have this wise attitude, let's say. This is the first aspect.
It's nice to hear that.
Oh, that's true. There are also many studies in finance where when you have to compose a team, women have always to be there, because or else the risk-taking is too high. Okay, this is one perspective. Second perspective, personally, I prefer to work with women because, of course, we complement each other, and in my opinion, the life experience of someone having kids, it's worth more than a couple of PhDs, because it's really a path that is challenging, you can suffer, and it's an experience that we men will never have.
Yes.
So this make a huge difference, because you have mothers in front of you, and I would like to mention a movie about this aspect by an Arab director, Nadine Labaki.
Yes, the Lebanese Nadine Labaki, yes.
Allah when men were thinking of making war, having fights, women used the weaknesses of men to convince them not to make war.
Interesting. I've never watched that movie, but I will.
You should.
After you mention it, yeah. So we're always accused of the tension caused in conversations, but now having this spoken from someone like you, that's a very good statement.
Thank you.
So back to the UAE. The UAE has positioned itself as a hub for dialogue, innovation, and long-term development planning. From your experience and perspective, what makes the UAE's development model stand out in a region facing constant uncertainty?
Well, the UAE provided for the whole region, and nowadays I would say even to the world, because it became a global hub. Dubai is a global city. I just published a book about global cities, starting from Milan, and I can definitely say that Dubai is a global city and the UAE a global hub. First of all, the Emirates, the UAE provided a safe harbor and stability, economic stability for all the region. They showed how we can live in peace with many different citizens coming from different nationalities in the same place. And the fact that the government is investing in infrastructure and in economic development, in innovation, in education and healthcare, stabilize the country and stabilizes the whole region. Mm-hmm. So I think this is the role played by the UAE, and it's serving as an example for other countries which maybe are not big as territory, but they can definitely set up hubs for the regions or for the sub-regions in order to give prosperity to the people, to provide any kind of services also to neighboring countries that cannot afford that stability.
Development in the UAE has gone beyond infrastructure, of course. It reached AI, technology, women's leadership. From what you've observed during your visit, which of these areas has the most impact on long-term resilience?
I think innovation under many aspects, because first of all, let's take the most simple aspect, finance. Okay. Registering patents and IP in general gives prosperity also to the next generations. So it means that the UAE is thinking about the future. The nowadays children which will become women and men in the future. Innovation also is a discipline that goes across every other sector, Mm-hmm. So it's very important in healthcare, in public administration, and in everything else, in infrastructure and so forth. And R&D, history has shown this also in the past, is key of going forward. The presence of a Museum for the Future, Foundation for the Future, witnesses the fact that the UAE is investing in this, in thinking what are our possible futures, which doesn't happen that much in many other countries, because we have to face today's crisis or today's gossip on the TV, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. So planning on innovation, on future, it's definitely an excellent thing.
So speaking about innovation, where do you see tools like AI or fintech making a real tangible difference in everyday life?
Okay. First of all, I'll make you an example for developing countries. Many remote areas are not reached by any payment platform or microcredit platform or any financial services. Even in my country, Italy, there are several mountainous areas mm-hmm. or islands where there are no more banks. So fintech, for example, provides services to each and every citizen in order not to create differences among them. And in developing countries, sometimes microcredit or fintech instrument pushed the emancipation of women. In some countries, for example, thanks to microcredit, some women bought their own sewing machines, and for the first time in their lives, they had to do their own IDs. So they became real citizens. Okay, this is for developing countries. For the rest of the world, we have to face innovation as we did in the past. I mean, we have to take lessons from the past, and especially we have to read a lot of science fiction, because in order to dream, of course, because I think that AI can definitely be the new steam of the third industrial revolution. Okay.
So you believe that robots will take over, or still the human impact will be living?
Now, of course, robots will not take over. The human impact will be living. We are programming robots. We are programming software. We are defining what AI is. And AI can be very helpful, especially in the healthcare sector, other than in every other sector. Of course, is an accelerator for every kind of jobs, but it can cut the human error on, for example, treating a disease, or it can elaborate a lot of data in order to find the right cure, etc., etc. I think that we should use it with ethics, but it's definitely something positive.
Of course.
Jobs will not be lost, they will be changed.
Talking about the humanitarian sector and the UAE's role in enhancing the humanitarian work and globally, not only in the region, how do you feel that this role that UAE has been playing has a positive effect on the global stage?
Well, I think the difference of the UAE approach, and I saw it with the Jihad Foundation, is the fast response, the speed of the execution, because sometimes in our institutions to taking decisions can be a long process. Okay, can be a long process, encounter a lot of red tapes, etc., etc. The practical approach of the Jihad Foundation and the UAE can definitely make a difference and set a new standard.
So you see the positive impact?
I do, definitely.
The UAE and Italian relationship that has been going on for so long, and it's continuing to grow across multiple aspects and fields. Where do you see this relationship is heading in the future?
I think it will grow stronger and stronger. It started many years ago. When I was a kid, I remember there was Italia 90, the soccer world championship in Italy, and there was a TV show focused on the UAE football team, and it started for me, this relationship as a person and as a kid at that time started with a lot of fun and positivity, and I think this is just a personal story and a personal memory, but I think our relations will be stronger and stronger. History connects us also because before Unitarian Italy, most of our components, the components of the Italian peninsula, were trading powers, and the UAE is a trading hub. So we definitely share the same targets, which is peace, prosperity, and dialogue.
You've worked in finance, politics, and international cooperation. Was there a specific moment or experience that pushed you toward these three topics, like an inspiration that you thought at that moment that, oh, this is what I'm gonna specialize at?
Okay. I always use an holistic approach because I think everything is related. Everything is related. I even set up with some friends a think tank called the Sandwich Club, focused on global trends, because global trends, they concern everything, every aspect of our lives, and sometimes we don't consider the elephants in the rooms, such as longevity, birth rates, gentrification, and so on. So sometimes some opportunities, they just come randomly. Sometimes some decisions are taken because I studied business. So of course finance was my direct approach to job. Politics was a passion that my father basically gifted me. So I was passionate about politics, so we were talking about politics, so I decided to...
So your father is the one who started the sparkle in you about politics?
Yeah, I started a sparkle, although I was never very involved into politics, but I entered the arena in order to change things, to make reform. I'm a federalist, so I would love Italy to be a federal republic, kind of the UAE, Switzerland, the USA, etc., etc. So I started my journey with this target. International cooperation was just a consequence of my presence in the Parliament. But I like to put everything together because seeing things from different angles can create real synergies and create value.
What's one thing you've learned from the culture here in the UAE that you think the West could truly benefit from?
Oh, many things. I mean, first of all, I think dialogue and seeing especially how diversity can create value, because only in this building I've seen maybe 40 nationalities altogether. So this is one aspect. The other aspect is we should maybe go a bit back in our history as West and remember how to create value, not just how to transfer value. And I think the UAE is nowadays creating value.
Very nice. So you believe in diversity?
I do, yes.
Yeah. My last question would be, for young people watching the world today and feeling it's more divided than ever, what would you tell them about the possibility of cooperation and change? Is there an open window?
Of course, there's always an open window. There's an open window, and I always suggest to young people, and I work with a lot of young people because they teach me a lot of things. Well, first of all, don't listen to the ones saying, oh, the new generation is lazy, blah blah blah. It's not true. You guys are fantastic, you have new ideas, and we need that. Second, try to study abroad, try to travel all summers. When I was 18, it was a different story because there were no cheap flights, but we have a program across Europe called Interrail where we could take trains for cheap and go around our countries. Nowadays you can even take cheap flights and go to another continent. So don't miss all those opportunities because they will open your mind and will help to draw your future path in your life.
Thank you, Honorable Giulio, for this amazing podcast interview that we've done. I wished we had more time, but I know you have a very tight schedule. Thank you for your time, and hopefully you'll have all our best wishes for the coming few days and in your meetings here in the UAE.
Thank you, Nada, and for having me in the living room, and thanks to all the followers of the Living Room podcast.